All right, so this is going to be a reading for Capricorn. And for the Capricorn that I'm reading for today, there's a lot of fast moving energy around you, and it comes through as possibly anxiety or being activated by something here. It's looking like there was a situation that when you looked at it realistically, even though you were moving in a positive direction with it, you realized how much it was stressing you out. And so you decided to bring about an ending and kind of move forward from this situation. And you did that from a place of wanting to do what was right for yourself. But it comes through as possibly everything kind of picked up when you made this decision, or things moved very quickly once you kind of moved from that place. So we're going to dive into the tarot here in a second, but before I do, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for receiving this reading. And if you would like to lend your energy to the channel to help me manifest messages that will align more with your energy, you can like and subscribe. I also offer personal readings. If you'd like a personal reading, you can email me. My email is down below in the description box. But let's get into it, Capricorn. So, with the oracle cards today being nothingness, guilt, and the outsider, you could feel like you're on the outside of something looking in, or you've been pushed out of or separated from something that you were once a part of. This could be anything. And it could feel like nothing's really moving forward with that situation, which would make sense because for one reason or another, you've been removed from that situation, and for many of you, this is going to be because of a decision that you made. But you could be kind of looking back at it and feeling like you're on the outside of it, feeling like nothing's happening, and really being hard on yourself about the decisions that you made or whatever happened in this situation. And I'm getting the sense that this is very difficult for you because you had some part in the decision to leave this, to move forward. And looking back on it, you could be feeling kind of guilty or stressed out because you may have felt like you made an impulse decision, or you could have gone about it a different way, all these kind of shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And I'm seeing that ultimately the decision to make this change and to leave this situation was from a place of wanting to serve your higher good. And so I think it's important that you try to ease your mind a little bit and move from a place of slowing down. Now, you are showing me that in the current energy, it's taking a lot of strength for you to maintain this decision and to really move forward. There could be some kind of hardship that comes along with moving away from this, and so even though you've made the decision to move away from it because it would be for your greater good, I'm seeing that right now you may not feel like you've gotten to that place of everything working out and it feeling supportive and feeling stable. You may be going through some hardship as a result of moving forward from this. You may be feeling kind of alone, and it's taking a lot of your strength in order to follow through on this. And at times you may feel like you don't even know where you're going necessarily or what's going to happen next, and you're just kind of trucking along because that's where you're at. So let's dive into the energies here and what happened. I'm going to shuffle the cards. Even if it doesn't always feel like it, I'm seeing that you are on your path here. You are moving in the right direction. You're just going to struggle first before it kind of gets better. It's interesting that you show me this sort of rushed energy, because when I look into the past and what happened here, I'm seeing that you actually didn't make this decision lightly. You really took your time to consider all the facts. It could have been that over time you noticed your heart kind of leaving this situation, and it's like maybe like you woke up one day and you realized you weren't there, like with your heart space. And you may not have even realized it while it was happening, But each day that you stayed in this situation, you were becoming more and more disconnected from how you felt. And then you maybe woke up one day and realized, oh my God, I'm literally not present in this situation. And over time, I've become really detached from it. And so this could have been something that was really supportive to you at one point, but then over time, it kind of came to a place where no matter how much it was supporting you, it didn't feel good. And so eventually it had to come to an end. I see that ending being somewhat painful, because even though your heart wasn't in it and you kind of were facing the truth of that, you still had invested quite a bit into this situation and it still meant something to you. It could have provided joy over a long period of time to you. It was never something that really spiked your passions as much as they could be, but it was something that you lent your heart to over time to a certain extent, right? And so over time it could have felt like, I do care for this. It's just not activating my heart the way that I know that it should. And I'm seeing that because of the investment that you gave to it over time, it may have felt really, really meaningful to you. You felt like you put a lot of yourself into it and you lent a lot of your heart space to it. But in terms of how much it gave back to you, I'm not really sure. So it comes through as bittersweet, like, I know I need to leave this because over time my heart has left it, even though at one point I was really in it. It could have felt really hard to leave this situation, and there could have been a lot of anxiety, especially on the parts of other people who maybe kind of questioned your decision to leave this and felt like, why are they doing this? Like, why wouldn't they stay here? This could have to do with other people who felt a connection with you. And so to them, it kind of didn't make sense. It was like, how could you do this? This is so difficult for me. And it comes through as, you're kind of on your way out and you're moving slow and you're being intentional about it. But then this other energy comes in and is like, wait, you can't leave. But it's coming from a place of them feeling really stressed out by what they don't understand and wanting you to kind of comfort them in that. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like there may have been a disconnect there in terms of just not being on the same page with someone else, and then there being some pain on their side of like confusion of like, why are you leaving me? Why are you leaving this situation? And that could have been really hard for you, and it might still be really hard for you, this feeling of like, oh no, I hurt the people that care about me, or I hurt someone else involved in this. But ultimately, you're showing me like, I know this is the right decision for me, and I do love those other energies, or I do care for those other energies, but I have to do what's right for me, even if it's difficult. You feel that there's an opportunity for you out there, and you have to kind of go after it, even if it's difficult. And so I see you kind of holding on to the idea of something better. You're saying like, I don't know what's out there. It may be really difficult, but I have to move forward because ultimately I need to see what's beyond my pastures. Like, I need to see what's on the other side. There's something that pulls your energy outside of what you knew to be true. And I see you kind of being stuck between a rock and a hard place because it doesn't make logical sense always. And there could be a part of you that's holding on to what could have been. And now that you're kind of, I see you being in this in-between place of, you know that something's out there, you're on your way to it, but you're not fully at your destination. And because you're not fully at your destination, it's really easy to look back at the past and think about what could have been and how much more comfortable you could have been. But I feel like if you had stayed in that past situation, you would be feeling really deeply unfulfilled. And even though you might have certain material comforts left, it wouldn't necessarily feed the part of you that, like, it wouldn't nourish all of you. It would just kind of meet maybe certain needs, but not all of them. I see you feeling better in August or in the summertime. I'm kind of getting this message of like, just keep going. You're on your way to manifesting your happiness. You're on your way to manifesting more security. It's just gonna take some time, and you may feel kind of disconnected from that manifestation at times. It may feel like your heart is kind of absent from the manifestation because you're coming from a bit of a lack mentality of like, look what I could have had if I'd stayed in that past situation. Your energy comes through as a little bit fragmented and kind of upset, and because of that, you may kind of fall off the path of what it is you're trying to manifest. And you are trying to manifest something. Like, you started down this journey for a reason, and it's because you're trying to move towards something that's a lot more happy and a lot more self-serving. And so if you need a reminder to continue focusing on yourself, and if you need a reminder of why you went on this journey in the first place, try to reconnect with how it was you felt when you made this decision in the first place. And have the strength to show up for yourself, because ultimately you're doing this for yourself. You didn't have to make this choice. You didn't have to break from whatever this was, but you did because you said, I deserve happiness and I deserve something that lights me up. And so try to connect back to that feeling of going after what lights you up. There may be a part of you that's disconnecting from your heart space now because of the pain that's associated with what happened in the past. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword, because if you stayed in that situation, you might have disconnected from your heart. But now that you're out of the situation, you're also disconnecting from your heart because there were elements of your heart space in that last place as well. So if you invested your heart into the last thing that you were involved in and then you left it behind, you may have left like little pieces of your heart there, even though ultimately you went forward because you needed something that spoke to your heart even more. And so either way, I'm seeing a need for you to connect back into your heart space to kind of heal some type of heartbreak here. And it's interesting because the heartbreak isn't necessarily coming across as like a lover type of heartbreak or like a relationship type of heartbreak. It's coming through more as like a mother who's grieving a family, or someone who's grieving like a structure that they created, like some type of long-term investment that you really did put your heart into in some extent. And you may not realize that you've become disconnected from your heart during this process, but you really have. And so it's important that you make the effort, or you're at least kind of becoming aware of, what does it mean to connect to my heart? Like, when does my heart speak to me? When am I disconnected from it? That kind of thing. I see you wondering like, okay, how do I do this? You know, how do I get back in touch with my heart? And I see you kind of a little bit all over the place, quite stressed out. The first thing to do would be to quiet your mind to get back in touch with your heart. There's no like one right or wrong answer in life or in healing and spirituality. It's about connecting with what you know to be true. And if your mind is really fragmented and all over the place, it's going to be harder for you to connect back into your own inner truth. I'm seeing that what you would ultimately want is to reconnect with whatever it was you left in the past, whatever that structure was, whether that was a family, a friend group, whatever it was. I'm seeing that you really want to reconnect with that, but you're having to hold back from it. And it could be because they don't want to connect with you. It could be because it's not the right time. There could be external factors like distance or monetary things, something like that, that kind of keeps you from connecting with these people and so, or these energies, and so you end up kind of holding yourself back because you're aware of these external circumstances. And that possibly wasn't something that you expected. Like when you closed this out, I don't think you knew that it was going to be locked away from you necessarily. And so your instinct is to kind of rush back towards it. And for whatever reason, that's not possible. And so that could be why you're cutting off from your heart, because you're telling yourself, well, I don't really have a choice. Like, I can't connect back to this thing. And that's really, 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 really hard for you. Like, it comes through as incredibly destabilizing, incredibly overwhelming, and just in every possible way, like really difficult for you to contend with. And I think it's really important that you try to have patience with this situation, because I don't think it's going to stay like this forever. I think it's just where you're at right now. And in a way, this is activating your heart space because it's showing you how much you do care for that situation. And I think that eventually it's going to come back around, because with this level of feelings, it's kind of impossible for it not to. But I'm seeing that it's kind of time for you to focus on yourself in the meantime. There could be a part of you that's associating your worth with this past situation or with these people kind of accepting you. The fact that guilt and the outsider and nothingness are here as your oracle cards, you could have very low self-worth if you're not in connection with these people or these energies. If you're not in connection to this past situation, this is something you could have used to define yourself for a while and your sense of worth. And now that you're on the outside of it, you could be feeling incredibly lost, or like you are just disconnected from yourself because you didn't think you were gonna be disconnected from this situation. But I'm seeing that it was actually all a part of your journey, because you needed to establish who you are on your own. And if you were able to return to this situation right now, I don't think you would lean into your own energies, because you would be really focused on what's going on with these other energies. And so even though it feels awful, I think this is actually where you're meant to be, because you're meant to be forced into your own space, into your own energy. And to you, this feels awful because you're like, well, I want to connect with those other energies, and that can be true. But you might connect with them in the future, you might never connect with them again, but the important thing is that you take this time to learn how to be on your own, so that you can move forward in your life regardless of what happens with anyone else. Let's get 3 cards of advice from the universe. The advice is to keep going even if you don't know exactly how you feel or what's going to happen. Just keep moving forward. There's also like feelings that are trying to speak to you, and I think you don't see them. Like, there are opportunities out there. There are feelings that you're having that want to be contended with, and you could be blatantly ignoring them. You could be walking away from those feelings. And especially if they're really hard, you could be saying like, well, I don't want to feel that, or why do I have to feel that? And actually feeling those really difficult feelings are a part of the process. It's a part of what you're meant to experience here. Is maybe you're meant to be in a lot of pain. Maybe you're meant to work through really hard feelings, especially feelings that you have related to these other people. It looks like they've made it known how they feel about you, but how do you feel about them? And how has that impacted your sense of self? There's something there that needs your attention, and it's an energy that starts within you. And that could also be why you're being pushed to be by yourself at this time, is because you're meant to focus on your own energy and what's coming from you more than anything else. So that's what I had for you, Capricorn. I hope that this helps. I hope that this resonates, and I'll see you next time.